Mechanism of electrolysis. When an electric current is passed through a compound in its molten or aqueous state, the electrical energy breaks up the compounds into ions. These ions then move towards the opposite terminal of the battery. The process of electrolysis starts with ionization and is then followed by dissociation. The extent to which the compound dissociates into ions is called the degree of dissociation. Dissociation leads to the formation of two types of ions. While positive ions or cations migrate towards the cathode, the negative ions or anions migrate towards the anode. Electrolysis takes place by the following steps. Step 1. We first convert solid sodium chloride to molten sodium chloride. Step 2. On passage of electricity, the molten sodium chloride dissociates. Step 3. Next, the ions migrate towards the opposite terminals. Cathode, being the negative terminal of battery, is rich in electrons. The positively charged ions migrate towards the cathode. These ions take up the electrons to form neutral and stable atom. Anode is the positive terminal of battery and it is deficient in electrons. The negatively charged ions migrate towards the anode. These ions lose electrons to form neutral atoms. Did you know? Pure water is a covalent compound and hence does not split into ions. Thus, it is a bad conductor of electricity. Electroplating, electrorefining, and electrometallurgy are some important applications of electrolysis. Electroplating. It is the process of depositing a thin layer of superior metal or a noble metal on the surface of an inferior metal with the help of electricity. Electroplating is generally carried out for one of the following reasons. Metals like nickel and chromium are coated over iron to prevent them from rusting. Silver and gold is electroplated over copper and brass articles to improve their appearance. Electroplating helps to repair the broken parts of machinery. The conditions for electroplating the surface of an article are: the article to be electroplated must be clean. The article to be electroplated is always made the cathode. The metal with which it has to be electroplated is made the anode. Electrolyte must contain the ions of metal with which the article has to be electroplated. Low current for longer time should be used. Direct current should be used. To electroplate an iron spoon with nickel, the iron spoon is made the cathode. Pure nickel metal is made the anode. The electrolyte chosen is nickel sulfate solution. On passage of electricity, the nickel sulfate solution dissociates into nickel and sulfate ions. At the cathode, nickel ions, after accepting 2 electrons, get converted to nickel metal and deposit on the cathode. Since nickel anode is an attackable electrode, sulfate ions attack the nickel electrode, leading to the formation of nickel ions. These nickel ions form the integral part of electrolyte and further migrate towards the cathode. If a copper cup is to be electroplated with silver, then the copper cup is made the cathode. A pure silver rod is made the anode. A saturated solution of sodium argentocyanide is taken as an electrolyte. At the cathode, the silver ions migrate and get deposited at the cathode due to their low reduction potential. At the anode, the cyanide ions attack the silver electrode, leading to the formation of silver ions. These silver ions form the integral part of electrolyte and they migrate towards the cathode. Electrorefining. The process by which impurities are removed from a metal leading to its purification is known as electrorefining. Electrometallurgy. Highly reactive metals like sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and aluminium are separated from their compounds by electrolysis. This method of extraction of metals from their compounds is known as electrometallurgy. Electrolysis is the passage of direct electric current through an ionic substance resulting in chemical reactions at the electrodes and separation of materials. When an electric current is passed through a compound in its molten or aqueous state, the electrical energy breaks up the compounds into ions. This process of conversion into ions is called ionization. Ionization is followed by dissociation, which is the process of separation of ions towards the opposite terminal of the battery. The extent to which the compound dissociates into ions is called the degree of dissociation. On passage of electricity, the positive ions or cations migrate towards the cathode. The negative ions or anions migrate towards the anode. Electrolysis is used for electroplating, electrorefining, and electrometallurgy.